Hey, movers and shakers, welcome to another exciting episode of the Seven Figure Moving Academy. Guys, do you know what it takes to operate a moving company startup in California? Believe it or not, it's quite a bit. And in today's video, we're going to be talking with one of my regular members of the Seven Figure Moving Academy. And he called me up and he asked me some questions about operating his moving company in California. So we're going to be discussing a bunch of stuff. Stuff like how much to pay your salespeople and how much should your profit margin be, and how much should I pay myself, and licensing, insurance, and various other topics. You're gonna like this very much, and it costs you nothing except you hitting the like button, leaving a comment, and if you haven't subscribed, make sure you're subscribed now. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Okay, how can I help you?
Okay, so a lot has changed, and basically my call today is just to fine tune my process and what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
A lot has came up as far as me putting more people on my team, and I just want to make sure like I can reference it to or give you what I'm doing and see if you can give me feedback as far as how to pay people and estimates and stuff.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
Okay, so last time we talked, I think my highest month was 15,000.
Wow, that's good.
That's the last time we talked. That was last December. Right now, I just hit 24 last month, and I'm on track for 30,000 this month.
Nice.
Yeah. So I added 2 estimators to my crew.
Okay.
And I have 4 full-time people plus 2 part-time that are on the team. Okay. My issue right now is coming with the estimators as far as paying them. I structured it like a car salesman. I was in car sales for 9 months, and I figured out that they do the commission, but where I was at, they didn't do a minimum, so we only earned on commission. So after that, estimators, one is my sister, one is my wife.
Okay.
So the other day, something was brought up regarding the minimums, because there are estimates that they go on that don't close, so they are putting in time and energy, and I'm like, okay, well, I think that should be compensated. I just don't know how to compensate that.
Well, here's the thing, and this is how I operate it, and I got this from several other moving companies that did the very same thing that I did in regards to this, and you can do whatever. You can offer a flat fee for just doing an estimate if they're not going to do any sales. So if they just go out and do an estimate for you, spend an hour. So let's say, travel time there and back, and then do an hour doing the estimate, typing it up and making it all. Yeah, you should give them like a little hourly, pay them hourly, for whatever, 20, 25 bucks an hour for that. So they 2 hours an estimate, it's 50 bucks, right? You could do that, and that's fair. Now, if they're going to be an actual salesperson, then you should really do it based on commission. Or I'm not going to tell you should, but I paid on commission only. And they had to do all their own marketing. They had to go and find their own leads. Now, if they used my leads, their commission was less, right? So basically my commission structure was, if they went out and did their own leads, depending on the job, right? I pay 7.5% to 10% based on their own leads. Okay, that's them sending out their own postcards, going to networking meetings. That's them spending their money doing that. So they're finding their own leads. I'm paying 7.5% to 10%. If they're using my leads, I'm paying 2.5% to 5%, depending on the job. The smaller the job, the more the commission, right? That incentivizes them to work on smaller jobs, right?
Okay.
Because if you just you only give them the small amount for the jobs, then they'll do is go after the big jobs, because they'll make more money, which is what you want. but you want to incentivize them for the small jobs too. And they don't pay don't obviously you're not getting as much money back. So if you're paying them a little bit more for the smaller jobs, then that helps them out, because if they got, for instance, they got 5% on a 3-hour job, minimum job, right? That's what, 10, $15. Whereas you paid them a little bit more, then obviously then that makes it worthwhile for those minimum jobs.
Understood.
Right. So, and you don't want them, but you don't want to make the commission so high on the minimum jobs. That's all they do. You know what I mean?
Right.
You want to make it so that they're going to make good money on the higher paying jobs, the big paying jobs. That's what I did. This is what I recommend a lot of people do. Now, your salespeople are your wife and your sister. Your wife, you could probably get away with not doing stuff, but your sister, you might have to pay a little bit.
Right.
Okay. So that makes sense, right?
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll tell you what I was planning. I just wanted to run it over with you.
Sure.
Run it by you. Anything under $1,000, I was going to pay a higher commission, which is what you said right now. And then, or it's close to what you said. And then anything over 1,000, I was going to pay a regular, like I was thinking 10% commission. So that way they're not stuck on a small job getting like you said, $15 for that small job.
Yeah, that sounds. Okay. If you can afford to pay that, then I would do that.
Okay. Next question. Last time I took notes and I completely forgot where I put the book at. So you mentioned, crazy. You mentioned, I told you I was doing, Thumbtack and Angie's List and all these other lead services. You mentioned you had someone or you knew someone that could help with the marketing side of things. Now I'm coming into a problem where I have gaps in my calendar. It'll get super busy and everybody doesn't know what to do with all the work. We're crazy busy. And then there's a gap of a week. Like, it's like, whoa, what happened to all the work? And so I got my guys on standby. I'm like, shit, like I need something. So I wanted to secure a more consistent flow of leads to have, work every day instead of that up and down roller coaster.
Well, you could do that. That's one thing. Another item is that you should do regular sales meetings with your sales office, right? With your sister and your wife, so that you could go over the calendar. That'd be one of the things you would go over them with. So like on a daily or, a few days, 2 or 3 times a week, go over the calendar, say, hey, look, we're running slow. Our calendar's not filled up this week. So I need you guys to concentrate on filling that week. And then you could do like a special promotion for those weeks. Typically those off weeks tend to be in the middle of the month, I'm assuming.
Yeah, this week coming up.
Yeah.
I have on this one, so everything.
Right. So what you could do then is you can empower your salespeople to say, hey, during this week, we're going to give them an extra X amount of dollars off of their move, right? If they book with us for this week, right? So if, for instance, your salespeople are coming and go, well, we really want to move towards the end of the month. They go, that's awesome. We can definitely help you out, but we got this week open. We can do this week. It's a free thing. We can put you in the thing. And if you do it, we'll give you X amount off for the sign-on bonus if you sign up right now for this week, right? Mm-hmm. And then that way they can start filling up that week. That's just one method that you could do. The other method is do what you're doing is going to Thumbtack and Angie's, well, Angie, it's not called Angie's List anymore. Go to Angie and Thumbtack. The only problem with that is I'm not a fan of them because their leads cost so much and they tend to be very overpriced. If you can afford it, you can put it in your thing, fine, go ahead and do it. Me personally, I didn't like it just because I always thought their leads were crap for first off, and second, they were very overpriced for what they were given. You know what I mean? So most of them were low baller, tire kickers. And, I just didn't want to deal with those kind of people. So that's me personally. If it works for you, go for
it. Yeah, it has. That's been my bread and butter is the Angie's and the Yelp. Yelp for sure. I get most of my work from Yelp.
Yelp is a good. So Yelp does get you some good customers, especially if you got a good reputation.
Right. I did 300 in Yelp. Did 300 a month in Yelp, and I was consistent. I jumped up to 1,500 in Yelp, and I got less work. It's so crazy. Our lead price went up to $9 a lead, where I was before. I was at $3 or $4. So going up on Yelp didn't help me.
Well, then I would not get back down to the 300 where you were successful. If they allow you. If
yeah,
they allow you,
yeah. Okay. I have a whole list of this stuff written down. As far as profit margins, I've been shooting for 30% profit margin. I just wanted to know, comparing to other companies, we'll give an estimate that's a $3,000 estimate, and another company gave an estimate, same job for $9,000. So I'm like, whoa, that's a big gap. So just wanted to know what is a good, profit margin that I should hold to when giving estimates. The end of the move on the year.
Right. Your profit margin, it typically profit margin and profit are two different things. Okay. If somebody's charging $9,000 for the same move that you're charging $3,000 on, there's two things that One, you're either charging far too little or they're charging way too much, right? So if you find out that they're charging way too much, hey, that's a sales point. Say, hey, look, they're charging you $9,000. I could do it for $3,000, right? Now, if you're charging too little, then that means you need to up your prices, right? Which typically is truthfully, that's true. What's usually the situation is that you're leaving more money on the table when you're selling these jobs, right?
Got it.
So the best way I have found is when you estimate a move, you should be using what's called a cube sheet. And your sister and your wife need to be traveling to these homes and using this cube sheet, right? And then figuring out the estimates from there. It's basically 3 columns that list out almost everything the home could possibly have. And then you basically, by doing that, it gives you the estimate of how many cubes that the job is going to take, right? And then then what you do is you take the cube sheet and you times that from anywhere between 5 to 7. So you times it by 5 or 7, or you could do even 6. I always times it by 7. Some people times it by 8, right? And then that will give you the estimated weight of the job, right? Now, if you're doing a long distance trip, and mine was 40 miles or more, I would charge $1 a pound, right? So if my estimated weight was 9,000 pounds and I had to take this 100 miles away, I was charging $9,000. Okay. If it's less than that, then you charge probably about like 30, 40 cents a pound, basically for a local move. Now you can determine what a local move is for you, right? Some people's local move is up to 100 miles. If you want to do that, absolutely go for it, right? But at a certain point, there's diminishing rate of returns if you're charging small amounts, right? The average, the van liners will charge anywhere between 70 cents to $1. They might actually be charging now just because of the inflation and the gas prices and stuff. But when I was doing it, they were charging anywhere between 70 to $1 a pound for a load. Okay. So, and that's for that's what the van liners were charging, right? And you should be on par with what the van liners are, right?
Okay.
So you got to determine how was that bill. So if somebody was charging 9,000 for something you're charging, how are they charging? Were they charging based on weight and mileage? And if they were, then you know that you're not using a cube sheet, right? But that doesn't mean you have to charge that amount. You could charge whatever you want, but you could, so that just gives you an idea. So if they're charging based on weight and mileage and they're charging at 9,000 pounds, right? Then you know that you could come up a little bit where you could still undercut them, but not charge the 3,000, but maybe charge 6,000 or 7,000.
Right. Right.
Does that
makes sense?
Now, I'm going to give you some basic weights, right? A 26-foot truck. Are you in a 26-foot truck right now?
No, I'm in a 20-foot truck right now.
20-foot. Okay, a 26-foot truck can take, depending on how well you load it, anywhere from, on average, 8,000 pounds. Okay? So I have fit more on it than that. You really don't want to go much more than 8,000 pounds in a U-Haul truck. So let's say you could fit anywhere from 8,000 to 9,000 pounds on a U-Haul truck. I would make an average. So if you know that it's going to take you a 26-foot truck, you know that customer's got right around 8,000 pounds. Okay? So when you do your estimate, you know that it's going to be, if it's going to be more than whatever your long distance rate is. So let's say it's going to be over 50 miles, right? Now you're going to charge a long distance, right? You don't have to necessarily charge a buck a pound at 8,000, but you could charge 6,000, right? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you could charge 6,000. That makes you more affordable than some of the other people, but yet you're still making more money than the $3,000. Does this make sense?
Got it. Yes, sir. Yes, it does. Okay, so that brought up another thing. So when estimating the 26-foot truck, you assign men based off of the pounds, the cubic feet, or the house and how many rooms inside, or because I've been.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
I've been assigning, 4-bedroom, 4 to 6 guys.
4 to 6 guys for a 26-foot truck.
Yeah, I've been assigning that.
Now, are all the guys traveling to the job, or is that just a load?
We got one. That's just a load. We got a driver to the other side. If it's long distance, we got a driver, and then we have outsourced other companies or moving help to help unload on the other
Good.
side.
Okay, that's what you should be doing. That's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine.
Right. Okay. How do you determine? Because there's been 4-bedroom moves that only have like 600 cubic feet, and so when we're assigning, we're like, oh shit, like so that should take like 2-3 guys. Like,
600 cubic feet.
Yeah. Do you have like say if it's 800 cubic feet, do you have like a set like, okay, that's 4 guys or that's 3 guys, or does that make sense?
Yeah. And I have that. Basically, I do it like this. Like if it's a 1-bedroom studio apartment, 2 guys, a driver and a helper, unless it's in an apartment building, right? Like if it's in an apartment building and it's three stories or more, I'm always going to add extra people, right? But just a typical 1-bedroom, a studio apartment, 1-bedroom apartment, 2 guys should be done 2-3 hours, like that, if that. I mean, I can do a studio apartment almost by myself and do it in an hour and a half, right? A 2-bedroom apartment, that should take you, again, it really depends on how many. I would put 2 to 3 guys. I would, depending on the job, that's 2 or 3 guys, right?
Yeah.
I would, especially if it's higher. If it's three floors, it's definitely 3 guys. It might actually be 4 guys, right? And you know that typically a 2-bedroom apartment usually takes 4 to 6 hours on average, right? Some companies can just bang it out because they got kick-ass crews, and then some people have dipshits and that take them a longer. But the average is 4 to 6 hours.
Got it.
Okay. 3-bedroom house, you're looking at, I would put like 4 to 6 guys on a 3-bedroom, or plus house, right? If it's a long distance move and you're only paying guys to load, I would put as many people on the job as you possibly can, right? If you could put 6 to 8 guys, I would do it to load.
Okay.
But then, 6 to 8 guys tends to becomes too many, kind of, they're starting to bounce off of each other.
I get that. I did a move. We got hired on moving help. The customer booked 2 crews for 4 men each. So we showed up 2 teams, 8 people. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-story. We ripped through that fucking house like in 2 hours. Like it was efficient. And that's the first time I saw you guys on the move. It was 8 plus the 2 people that were helping that were the owners. They jumped in too. So it was 10 guys on the crew. It was amazing. Like I saw how efficient we could be because everyone was on the job. But then there was times when, they bumped into each other, like you said, like 2 people, 3 people were just waiting for the other person to get out of the way. And
right.
So,
yeah. And yeah, those, something like that, 6 guys, 4 to 6 guys should be enough. Other than that, you're just getting way too many guys, and they'll go fast if they know what they're doing. But if they don't, and you got some guy, no one knows how to load a truck, right? One guy, hypothetically, only one guy knows how to load a truck. Then that's bad. In that case, if you got that much stuff, if you're going to bring 2 crews like that, you want 2 trucks basically, with one crew loading one truck, another crew loading the other truck, right?
Right.
And then it's just go, But yeah, you can bang them out really fast, and I like that idea of banging it out. But now, if it, obviously, if you got a 10-bedroom house, then 8, 10 guys is what you want, right?
Right.
Because because the faster you could get that loaded and loaded right, the customer's going to be blown away. They're going to be like, "Oh, you guys are the greatest thing since sliced bread," and that's what you want.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had some, like in the past, since I've talked to you last, I'm the guy that loads the truck. So doing it every day, my skills are through the roof right now. It's amazing what I can do. Like it just fits together. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how I do it sometimes. I'm like, shit, this is crazy.
I hope you're training somebody to be able to load. I hope you're training more than one guy. Actually. Hopefully you're training 1 or 2 guys.
I just realized that I need that because without me, it doesn't get done. Like I have to be on the floor, and to do it every day, I mean, it can get pretty heavy on the body. Like I've had days where I'm like, damn, this is too much.
Yeah, and don't you want to take a vacation? Don't you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor?
I do. We're at the point now where it's like, okay, well, we got a system going, it's running, it's working. Now I just need the guys to be able to do their jobs without me. Mm-hmm. So our system is basically the driver loads their truck and they secure the load. Like that's how we do it. And everybody else is a helper on the floor. They bring all their stuff up. Is that how you run your show? You just have the driver do the loading, or you have 2 people doing loading?
Yeah. Usually my driver is usually my team leader. The team leader does the loading and makes sure that shit's going down. So if things aren't coming out like they're supposed to, like in a timely manner, he gets off the truck and finds out what the fuck they're doing and tells them to get their ass in gear.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the one loading the truck. He's the one that's making sure that sucker's loaded up. He's the one that's talking to the customer, making sure the customer's happy. He's the one who collects the money at the end. He's the one that gets the review if they're going to do an immediate review. That's the guy that you want doing that. Now that doesn't necessarily have to be like that. I've had it where my team leader was not the driver, but typically the driver tends to be the team leader.
Okay. So as far as the team lead, I'm paying myself $20 an hour for doing the driving, for loading, and then I pay my guys right now. I just up them to $16 an hour, only because they got good enough to where I don't need to be on their ass. They're sufficient.
Good.
So as far as the payment, so I'm paying myself 20. What is a good payment for a team lead or driver? Like what is a good range?
$20 to $25.
20 to 25.
Depending on your area. What area are you in again?
We're in Visalia, Central California, close to Fresno.
Okay. Yeah, especially
So,
in California, 20 to 25 bucks is what you want to pay a good team leader. But he's got to know what he's got to be able to lead guys. He's got to know his shit. He can't be some dumbass.
yeah, I know. I noticed that right away. So, okay, so 20 to 25. I'm charging the customers $50 an hour per man.
Per man?
I have per man, yeah. Competitors, they're charging 60 to 70, high end to 70. Some people do 60. We're about to get our uniforms. You mentioned last time I talked to you, if we got our shit together, if we're in uniforms, and we all got our own trucks, and go upwards on the price.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we're about to get our uniforms. All my guys are on point, and I oversee everything. So 50. Okay, so if I'm charging 50, then should it be? I don't know where I got this idea, but it should be 30% of that $50 that goes to my guys.
No, it should be 30% of your overly hourly charge.
Okay, got it.
So if you're charging $100 an hour, hypothetically, then your payroll should be 30% of that per hour.
Okay, and then overtime. If I go into overtime on the job, do I charge the customer that overtime rate? Or
If it's in your contract, yes.
Okay, got it. I've been biting the bullet on those overtime.
Yep, you should definitely say, look, if it's a big job, for instance, if it's going to be like a 2-day job to load, because it's a 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom house, right? That's 2 days. Let's face it, 2 days, right? You say, after 8 hours, we could load everything up in one day, but after 8 hours, we're on overtime, and it should be in your contract.
I have my licenses. Okay, well, let me tell you what I did. I bought a truck, but not a moving truck. I have a Dodge Ram, and I pull a 20-foot trailer.
Okay.
That got me out of renting trucks. So every truck I was renting was like $200 a day. So now I'm saving that money.
Good.
That works for the one item moves, the small studio, small stuff that I don't need to rent a truck now. I have my cargo insurance. I have my umbrella insurance. I have my general liability insurance. And I did buy your insurance book. That was a lot of information in there, so thank you for that.
Not a problem. Thank you for buying that.
I think I'm missing one other thing. It's the workman's comp. I'm going to get my workman's comp. So is that all I need to get my license? Because I'm still not licensed in the state of California.
Typically, you don't have to have workman's comp to be licensed and insured. All you need is the moving insurances and to be licensed and insured. California is a little bit different. I don't know their laws. Maybe they state that you do. If that's the case, I get it, but it's going to be expensive.
Okay, yeah. So that's where I'm at. I'm looking to get licensed. That way I can fight back. There's 2 or 3 people that owe me money, and this was pre-contract. So your contract in your Facebook group, I use that one. I just switched some words out, like my name. I added my name to it.
Sure, yeah.
That shit saved me so much. Like that saved me, because before that it was word of mouth, handshake deals.
Right.
And some people don't pay on those handshake deals. So right now, the people that owe me money, if I don't have a contract, it was a verbal or a handshake deal. If I don't have a license and I go to court, should that be a bad thing for me?
It could be if the judge asks you for your license and insurance, and or the customer says he's not even licensed and insured. In California, yeah, that could be bad. Typically, it doesn't matter though. Even if it's a verbal contract, right? That's technically legal and binding. And if the customer says thing, but the problem is you can't prove it. It's a he said, she said thing, and it comes down to who does the judge believe more, you or them, right?
Right.
And so that's the problem. At this point, if they owe you money and you've had a verbal contract, I would just suck it up as a learning experience and just move on.
Okay.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much energy collecting or trying to collect. I already, it's not much. We're in like $500 range, and another one's like $1,000.
Yeah, but, I would just it costs you more just to take it to court to get that little bit of money.
Right.
I would just,
Okay. So,
I would cut your losses, put it down as a loss, right? Which you could put on your taxes and then move on and go and get, finish your licensing and just move on, right? And just make
got it.
sure that it, in the future, you use the contract and in the bill of sale. And if somebody does that to you again, and you do have to take them to court, in my contract, I had it, if you fail to pay me, right, there was a couple consequences. One, any damage claim is null and void. There's no at that point. Second, if I have to take you to court, then I charge you 3 times the owed amount. So if you paid a little bit, you still, let's say $1,000 left. You're gonna pay me $3,000 plus my attorney fees.
Got it.
Because I got to make it worth my while to go to court.
Yeah, that makes sense. Last question. I think I covered everything with you. So buying the trailer, that saved me like a lot of money. I paid $217 a month for that trailer, where it used to be $200 per day per truck.
Right.
So I'm ready to move to something. I tried Enterprise. I looked at Enterprise and Penske and all these things, and all I can find is like a truck in $30,000 range, like around here. I guess there's a shortage in California, and the emission laws, they don't. I'm willing to, go up in the budget. Do you suggest a certain place to buy a truck, and what's the best kind of truck I can buy? I had in mind the NQR, the Suzuki NQR, the small 16-footer.
If you're going to buy a truck, buy a big one. Buy a 26-footer. Don't waste your time with the small ones. You can buy one of those later, but you know what I mean? But if you're going to do it, you want a big one and buy a 26-footer. That's just what you need to do. But quite honestly, if you want a decent truck, sadly, because of the whole COVID situation going on, trucks are expensive now. Used trucks,
Yeah,
they all went up in price, sadly. You could have got a good used one for 10 to 15,000. Now it's going to be 20, 25, $30,000 for a good used truck. That's just the way it is, sadly, right now.
And that's the price on the 26-footer, on a decent 26-footer?
Yeah, and if you go to usedmovingvans.com, you can find some good used moving vans, like real life moving trucks, that you can get for that price range. Very good. Anything under that price range is it's just going to be a maintenance problem. It's going to be a headache. You're going to be spending more money in fixing the damn truck than you are in using it. So.
Okay, cool. And then as far as marketing, I think you had a relationship with that person. You said you gave me their info. Is that still an ongoing relationship with the marketer? You said they'll build something for your website. I have a website now.
Oh, okay.
Do the marketing
You're talking about Travis?
I think that was the guy. You mentioned someone. You gave me information. I didn't reach out. I don't know where the book is. It's in my closet with all my books. But
Travis Weathers his website is rotate, like in you're rotating something, rotatedigital.com.
Got it.
And he's got his marketing is Google ads and stuff. And he's got somebody that can help you with Google. Now, Google ads could help fill you up in those dry times too. And it's going to be far cheaper using Google ads than Thumbtack or Home Advisor or Angie.
Okay.
And that's what if I were to do the moving business, that's what I would be doing. I would go and get myself a website, get myself set up on that, and then be using Google ads and just knock it out of the park and get really good keywords for that. Someone who knows how to do keywords and do a keyword thing. And I tell you what, man, you'll be making a lot more. You'll be getting a lot more ads. You'll be getting a lot more leads that you don't have to compete with when you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be better leads too. So for the most part, that will be better quality of leads.
Got it. Okay. That's it. That's everything I had written down. Just wanted to go over that.
Okay.
Let you know, man. I'm doing double what I was last time I called you. So something's happening. Something's working here.
I love to hear that. I love to hear that. That means if you're doing 30,000 a month, right, you're going to be doing about $120,000 in a year, which is good. Not great, but it's pretty doggone good, right? What you really need to start shooting for now is bumping that up to like $50,000-$60,000 a month.
And just by doubling the crew, that would work.
Well, I would look at your prices first. Look at doubling your prices first before you double your crew, right?
Okay.
Because sounds like, and I don't know if it's true or not, and I'm not gonna judge you one way or the. Sounds like you might be leaving a lot of money on the table, right?
I am.
So
every time, a lot of customers say, "Wow, you guys are the most reasonable." They call it reasonable. The most reasonable estimate. We're gonna go with you guys. And so I'm like, well, and then when my estimators, they get back to me, they're like, hey, the customer mentioned that the other quote was double, or the other quote was like 1,000 more or 2,000 more than what we're doing. I'm like, shit, we got the better quality. I know that, and that's based off our reviews, not off my hearsay, not what I'm saying. Our reviews show the quality. And so I'm like, okay. So then I just, but I wasn't sure. I thought I was charging too much still. I mean, maybe I'm charging a lot because we get some people that don't close.
Right. Well, so you said you were charging like $50 a person, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you saying you got a lot of guys that are charging 60, 65, 70, $75 a person. Right?
Yeah.
I would think about increasing that up. You don't have to go up as much as them, but maybe go up to $55 or even 60. Increase it by that increase alone that's a 20% increase right there. That's a 20% increase in income just by doing that small move. You're increasing your prices doesn't have to be dramatic.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So if you did it by $5-10, you're looking at 10 to 20% increase. And what does that 10 to 20% increase mean for you on the bottom line?